You've seen him, the man on the horse, cast in bronze, sword forward. His face is on the money, the avenue, the airport, father of a whole continent. Open any history of how these nations were born and you get a gallery of men. Great men, signing the documents, winning the battles, freeing the people. But a signature needs a hand that's still alive to sign it. And again, at the edge of the official portrait, someone has been cropped out. We remember the hand that signed. We forget the hand that kept the knife from his throat. Simón Bolívar liberated 6 nations. Almost anyone can name him. The woman who twice kept him alive to do it? Most people can't. Her name was Manuela Sáenz. Born in Quito in 1797, a daughter no marriage was supposed to produce. The illegitimate child of a Spanish official, raised behind convent walls, hidden there really. History gave girls like her 2 endings, a quiet marriage or a quiet erasure. She refused both. A revolution was coming up the spine of the continent. And she decided she was not going to watch it from a window. Which is how, one night, the future of a continent came down to one woman on a staircase, alone. Lima, 1819. She's 20, married off to a rich English merchant she didn't choose. On paper, a perfect colonial wife. Underneath, she was already dangerous. In the parlors of the powerful, she listened. She carried letters the empire was never meant to read. She moved money, secrets, and men for the rebellion growing under the viceroy's floor. When San Martin's army freed Lima, the liberators knew exactly who she was. They made her a knight of the Order of the Sun, a soldier's honor for a woman, for spying. Then, Quito, 1822. The whole city is throwing flowers at the man who has just freed it. From a balcony, she throws a laurel crown. It hits him. He looks up. Simón Bolívar. San Martin pinned a medal on her chest for espionage. History pinned a single word on her: mistress. And yes, they became lovers. That part is true. It's just the smallest part. She became the keeper of his archive, his letters, his files, the paper memory of a war. She read the intelligence. She warned him of plots. The officers around her called her my colonel. For 8 years, she sat closer to the center of power than almost any man of her age. Not behind the liberator, beside him, right where she'd be the night the knives came. Bogotá, September 25th, 1828. Rain. The revolution has started to eat itself. Bolívar's own men are coming to kill him tonight inside his own palace. She hears them first, dogs, then boots, then the wrong kind of silence. She shakes him awake. He reaches for his sword, ready to die fighting. She points at the window. He hesitates. It's a long drop into the dark, and the liberator does not run. You have to live, she tells him, and she pushes the liberator of 6 nations out a window. He drops into the alley and vanishes into the rain, alive. She stays. She smooths the bed, closes the window, and gets ready to lie to armed men. She opens the door to the assassins herself. Every second they spend on her is a second he gets. Where is he? She answers calmly and sends them the wrong way down the hall. They beat her to the floor. She gives them nothing. By dawn, the plot has collapsed, and Bolívar is alive because one woman held her nerve. He takes her bruised face in his hands and gives her the name history never quite managed to erase. The liberator of the liberator. 2 years later, Bolívar is dead, disillusioned, headed for exile, gone at 47. And the men who inherit his republics have no use for the woman who guarded him. They exile her, they seize her property, they turn her name into a warning about improper women. She lands in Paita, a dusty fishing town on the Peruvian coast, and there she stays. For 25 years, she sells tobacco, she translates letters for English whalers to get by. One of those sailors, the story goes, was a young Herman Melville. She was translating a world she had once helped move. She stayed poor, half paralyzed, forgotten by the nation she helped build. What she never did was apologize. 1856, diphtheria sweeps the coast. It finds the woman on a hill. They burned her letters to stop a plague. They had already burned her from the history books. They threw her into a common grave. No stone, no name. The erasure looked complete. Here's the part that should bother you. None of this was an accident. It was a choice, made and then remade. For 100 years, official history filed her under one word, mistress, and closed the drawer. Then Pablo Neruda went looking for her grave and found only sand. So he wrote her a poem, The Unburied Woman of Paita. And the countries that forgot her began, slowly, to say her name again. Ecuador, Venezuela, Colombia. In 2010, with no body left to move, they carried soil from Paita to the Pantheon and laid it beside Bolívar. At last. So here's the harder question. How many others are still filed under one small word? Go back to the man on the horse. Look at the empty space beside him. History is what somebody chose to carve. Everything else got left in the sand. Manuela Sáenz kept a continent's future alive one night on a staircase. It took 100 years for anyone to carve her name. If this one stayed with you, subscribe and turn on notifications so the next erased story finds you. Next, a man who walked into the Himalayas to die and came back changed, Sadhu Sundar Singh.